You know, I don't think that you truly understand what it's like to be in my brain. Like you're always like laughing because I get off topic, but
What? No, I would never.
in the last 30 seconds, I've thought about coffee creamer, Birkenstocks, your head being very bald, what shirt you had on, your kitchen cabinets that look like my mom's kitchen cabinets, whether or not I was going to go to work after this, what time I'm gonna, and this is all like bing, 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 like,
Good Lord.
and through it all, I had a song playing in the background of my. It's like it's all being. There's like a musical soundtrack in my head. I'm going.
And excuse me, my head is not very bald. It just has a very short haircut. Thank you very much.
Well, I thought I actually what I thought in my brain was, oh, he shaves his head. I wonder if he shaves his head in the shower like my husband. I wonder if he's having plumbing problems like my husband has created in my bathroom. Oh, look at the cabinets. Those cabinets look like my mom's cabinets. Should I get those $170 shoes or should I get the jersey? That is what it's like to have ADHD. Just from one thought to another. It's constant.
Don't they have drugs for that?
I don't, I don't think I would take the drugs when I have high blood pressure. I don't want to add a stimulant. I mean, they have non-stimulants, but they don't work as well.
Yeah, it's weird that a stimulant would make your brain slow down.
That's why I like coffee so much.
It does seem counterintuitive.
I know. Well, I think that I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I think it has something to do with me not having enough of something of whatever. Anyways, let me go to my live thing.
Good morning, everybody. Just a little insight into our daily lives, or the daily life of one very, very, very ADHD Florida woman.
It's funny because I have so many things happening in my life, and so I'm constantly going. The day that you did all those notes, I worked for like 14 hours.
Wow. Ugh.
And then I got home and I cooked dinner. I got home, I cooked dinner. Like I literally walked into my house, started dinner, and then I went pee. I didn't even go pee first. Started dinner, finished dinner. I sat down, I opened up our notes. I looked to see what you had and hadn't done. And you had done most of them by that point. And I was like, oof, I love him. And then I wrote one, fell asleep sitting up.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts bouncing around my head. It's usually just like a steady, regular screaming. So that's different.
You might want to get help for that. You need one of my Lexapros?
No, I'm fine. It's all good. It's all good.
Alex told me that I was like, hey, when you're thinking, like, I go, what are you thinking about? And he says nothing. And I'm like, how is that possible? And I've heard some people really can just be, their brain is quiet. I can't imagine my brain being quiet.
It's never quiet. There's always that low, steady screaming in the background, mostly because I want to strangle somebody. But it's okay.
I've heard people say that when they take ADHD meds, that for the first time in their lives, their brain is not going 100 miles an hour.
That would drive me fucking crazy.
Can't imagine what that's like.
So annoying.
It's truly like, I saw somebody explain it really well a long time ago. Like for a normal person, you go and you open up the door, right? You just go, you open the door. It's not much thinking in it. But for somebody like me, I'm like walking to the door, but I'm narrating it the whole time. I'm like, oh, let me go put my hand on the handle. Oh, look at the lock. The lock looks weird. Oh, okay. Let me turn the handle and walk out the door. Okay, I got to grab the handle. And it's like that. It's just constantly, like there's a constant narration happening in my head. Which is great because it helps me be creative, but
not so useful when you want to focus.
yeah. And it's so weird because I didn't really have that problem focusing when I was younger. It's more as I've aged.
Yeah, well, middle age gets like that when you're in your 40s.
Just 40, not in my 40s.
What are you going to do next year when you're 41?
I'm going to still be 40.
That's not how that works.
So when my oldest son was younger, I joked that I was, so on my 30th birthday, I was joking that it was the first anniversary of my 29th birthday. So now that's how he counts my birthdays. He's like, oh, it's your 11th anniversary of your 29th birthday.
Oh, I'm definitely going to be there to remind you that is definitely not how it works.
I actually don't care about aging at all. It's just so funny that as you age, you feel exactly like you felt when you were 21. Like my brain is the same as I would, except for the constant narration. But, I don't feel 40. I feel like I'm still figuring my life out. But I have an adult son. My adult son has his life more together than I do.
Yeah, no, I've definitely noticed a distinct difference between 52-year-old me and 30-year-old me. I'm way, way more comfortable with who I am. Never mind, the whole physical, ow.
Oh, my body's definitely rebelling for sure.
Yeah, stuff hurts now that didn't hurt back then.
Like right now, my left shoulder is bugging.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. But
you have to the right kind of chair. Like I'm like, I don't know if I like this chair today.
Yeah, Lila, with that time that Lila mentioned it to me and Mrs. Ogre, it's like, you're the most confident people I know, and I was just like, who are you talking to? You kidding me? I was the most like insecure person I knew when I was growing up and in my 20s, in like my early 30s, and then it was like I just stopped giving a shit what other people thought, and I didn't know when that happened. I just knew it happened at some point, and I just never thought about it. And when she said it, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's kind of the case, isn't it? Because we were talking about Anastasia, because she's
really confident. Yeah,
she's confident to the point of recklessness. Sometimes it's like, where the fuck did she get that from? She didn't inherit it from me.
Aiden is like that. Aiden is incredibly confident. But I think the thing is, it's like we raise our kids to be confident. We raise them to be like, we raise them in a way that we make sure that they are not lacking in the areas where we feel like we're lacking,
Well, and that it was just, she just saw us do what we do. And by the time she saw us growing, by the time she was old enough to even pay attention to what we were doing, we were already completely comfortable with who we were, especially as parents.
As a Chihuahua owner, I do not recommend 0-10. I have a Pomeranian Chihuahua mix. I'm sorry, I'm talking to one of our listeners. And he's the sweetest dog ever, but also like a giant asshole, a 15-pound asshole. What's funny is that you say that, and I have always felt really confident in who I am. But I remember the only fight that you and I have ever been in, and I didn't talk to you for like I was like actively ignoring you and you knew it, was when I was in my 20s and my life was kind of a shit show. And you said to me, you keep doing this because you're insecure. And I was like, bitch, I am not insecure. And then I thought to myself, oh my God, am I insecure? And it sat with me and I was like, I am not. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be perceived that way either. So let me get my shit together. But it's funny because that's the only fight that you know if I have ever been. I can literally remember what we were arguing about. I'm sure that you know what we were arguing about, but
you'll have to refresh my memory after the show.
Oh, you'll just think about my life in my 20s and you'll figure it out. There was something I was doing that you were really disagreeing with.
I suspect I know what you're talking about, but we will not discuss that on the show.
But anyways, yeah, you called me insecure. I was like, the fuck? They are cute. My dog is adorable. I wish I could post a picture here. Let me see. Hold on a second. No, I cannot. No. If you go to Florida Woman Rants on Instagram, on Substack, you can see a picture of my dog. I posted him the other day. I was taking.
Just click right on
look
that.
At that. Click on my little QR code there and you can see a picture of him. I posted a picture of him the other day to break up the doom scrolling.
All right. Shall we get started?
Absolutely not. I'm having so much fun.
All right. So we're not going to be playing the theme music because it doesn't record well and it makes Florida Woman's head explode. I'll have to add it in post-production. But we will get started anyway. All right.
Oh, it's Morgan I'm talking to. Was X. I get it. Very funny. I had no idea. I was like, where is Morgan?
Why'd you change your name?
Probably because she gets crazy stalkers. That's probably why.
Oh, so lucky. I was wondering about that. I was like, oh, there's another X in here.
I know. I was like, oh, look at that. Somebody else is joining us, and they're very talkative. I like that. It's our Morgan. Just chatting away. All right. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Okay, here we go. All right, let's pretend music's playing. La 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 la. Oh, sorry. This is the Opinionated Ogre Podcast, your weekly rampage to current events with a little snark, a bit of foul language, and a lot of strong opinions. There are new episodes every Thursday, and they're not safe for work or polite company of any kind whatsoever. I am your podcast host, the Opinionated Ogre, and this is my co-host, Florida Woman. Hello, Florida Woman.
No, hello.
Focus, goddammit, focus.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh my goodness. It's been a whole week since our last show, and things have happened. That's why we're doing another show. It's incredible.
Oh, crazy. Isn't that weird how that works?
I know. It's like things keep happening. It's like, wow, geez, here in the weird world. All right. So this is the recording for December 11th, 2025, and we have a lot to get to on episode 77 of the Ogpod. Are we ready to do this?
No, just kidding. Yes, I'm ready.
All right, then let's get to it. It's time for the Ogre Nation news update.
Roar.
All right, the cover-up of the over the double tap murders in the Caribbean continues. Now that Pete Hegseth has a patsy to blame, Admiral Frank Bradley, he's back to bragging about how illegally killing survivors of an already illegal attack is perfectly legal because Donald Trump said so.
Huh.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not how it works.
I believe that is not how it works. Hegseth gave a speech last week during which he announced that Trump can do, quote, as he sees fit with the military, which is actually not how that works at all, because we are not a monarchy and Trump is not a fucking king with absolute power. This is part of the Trump scandal playbook, and we talked about this last week. If you shout loudly enough, people start to wonder if a crime was actually committed because they can't believe that a criminal will confess at the top of their lungs. That's what we're watching right now. They just say over and over and over that, everything we did was fine. It's all fine. No, nothing we did was there was no crime. There's no crime. There was no crime. And then people are like, well, was there a crime? So that's what we're looking at here. And we know that all of these murderous assholes think they're going to be protected by pardons when the regime falls, but pardons will not protect them from state charges and international charges, because honestly, we should just hand them over to Venezuela at this point. But let's be honest, at the rate we're going, we're going to have to scrap the Constitution and rewrite it to make sure this shit does not happen again. And all of the pardons that Stephen Miller is going to be signing with the AutoPen won't be valid anyway. So please continue to confess as loudly as you want, fuckos. But honestly, it really doesn't matter because it's all okay. we have a new lie that will make everything 100% legit. Honest. After weeks of insisting no crimes were committed and nothing happened, but if it did, it was legal, the regime has suddenly remembered that, oh yeah, everyone on the boat was actually on an official list that had been officially compiled by officials who determined that they could be officially killed. Officially. See, it's all okay now. There was a list. A list they just forgot to mention until just now. Of course, there's a few problems with this list, like who made it? How does one get on the list? What are the criteria for getting on the list? How do you get off the list? How big is the list? And it's so big that it just happened to include all 11 men on the boat. That's a pretty goddamn big list. How convenient. Does the public get to know the details? Does Congress? Can the courts review it for legality? And drug trafficking is not a drug penalty offense, a death penalty offense. So can we call any kind of criminal a terrorist and kill them? If we find one of these people on that list on American soil, are we going to blow them up with a missile? Yeah.
I saw speaking of this, I saw a Daily Show clip this morning on TikTok, and Jon Stewart like played the excuses for the attacks on Venezuela with excuses for the Iraq War, and they meshed so well together. You didn't know which one he was talking about, which one they were talking about.
Ooh, I have to go find that because that I mean, really, they're just so unoriginal.
And apparently, Tom Cotton even said Bush in an interview recently instead of Trump.
Because it's just the same fucking bullshit.
I'll send it to you. It was, and we can link it for our listeners. It was very, very much the same.
So Wozniak says the criteria is being brown. That's probably true.
Well,
but
that was certainly true for Iraq.
Yeah, seriously. Now,
being brown and having oil.
Now, these last two questions, right? Drug trafficking, can we kill any criminal that we call a terrorist now? And if we find them on American soil, are we going to start blowing them up here? Those two questions are really critical. It's long been understood that what we do overseas to those people will be brought home to American cities. Mass surveillance, militarized police with literal fucking tanks, drones with guns, and now we're declaring drug dealers to be terrorists that we can kill without a trial. And do you think that's going to be used on the white guy selling cocaine and heroin to Don Jr. and Bobby Brainworm? Or the Sacklers still getting rich from turning millions of Americans to opioid addicts? Or are we going to start shooting up black communities when they sell marijuana on the street corner and college kids selling ecstasy at raves? I think we all know the answer to that. It's not going to be the white guy selling cocaine and heroin. Now, Congress wants to see the unedited video of the murders, and they want the orders from Hegseth and that Hegseth and Admiral Bradley gave. The Pentagon is refusing to release either because civilian oversight is for constitutional republics and the rule of law. And we are a fascist dictatorship, baby. Except we're not. And Congress still controls the power of the purse, no matter what the regime and 6 Republican justices on the most corrupt Supreme Court in history have to say about the matter. That's why the annual defense bill that's about to be passed has a little sticky note attached to it. And that note says, release the information we want, or Congress is going to cut into Pete Hegseth's travel budget. Hegseth, of course, is going to go crying to Daddy in the Oval Office, and Daddy will threaten the Republicans because he no longer, even after he said 5 days ago that he was going to, 6 days ago, that he was going to release the video, now he's saying he didn't say anything like that, and how dare you even question him, blah, blah, blah. But Trump's grip on the Republican Party is a lot weaker than it used to be, and a lot of Republicans want Hegseth gone. Not because of the murders, but because he's a drunken buffoon and he's damaging the military. They would prefer a competent fascist in the job. Thank you very much. So we're going to keep an eye on that to see how it turns out. Meanwhile, the clean-cut, upstanding face of American fascism, the aforementioned Senator Tom Cotton, is just openly lying about what's on the video. Cotton, if you'll recall, was the piece of shit who wrote an op-ed for the New York Times insisting Trump should send the military in to shoot protesters. And Mr. Shoot the Unarmed Americans went on Meet the Press and shamelessly lied his ass off about what happened at the double tap murders. This is from NBC. Cotton said the survivors of the initial strike who were killed in the second strike were not, quote unquote, incapacitated. They were not in the water, surviving only because they had a life jacket or hanging onto a plank of wood, Cotton said. They were sitting on that boat. They were clearly moving around on it. Cotton alleged that survivors appeared to be at one point trying to flip over the capsized boat, presumably, quote, presumably to rescue its cargo and continue their mission, he added. Rescue the cargo?
Does he not know how a flipped over boat works?
Yeah, what is he talking about? Continuing the mission? What the fuck is he talking about?
Well, didn't you know that if you knock over your bowl of cereal in the morning, you could just flip the bowl back over and all the cereal is still in it?
Oh, that's exactly how that works. Also, when my little bowl of cereal gets hit by a missile by the United States Navy, that bowl's definitely going to be usable afterwards.
Yes, definitely not going to be broken at all.
No, definitely going to be seaworthy or cereal worthy. But now, Cotton knows for a fact that boat wasn't going anywhere, and ain't no drugs getting salvaged from it. And that's if there were even drugs to begin with. And he also knows it is explicitly against the rules of war and the Navy's own code of conduct to attack the survivors of a shipwreck. So he's making up a story about how they were actually still a threat to justify murder. And this is why the regime does not want to release the video. They know that everyone except the most bloodthirsty death cultists in Magaland are going to look at the two guys on a sinking ship and wonder what possible fucking threat they could have posed that we needed to drop another missile on them. And it's important to understand that we, the United States, set the standard for military conduct for the world. If we, because we're at war everywhere is all the time. So, it's kind of us. If we slaughter the unarmed and defenseless, that gives license to everyone else to do the same, including against our own troops, which is one of the reasons we don't like to do that sort of thing, because we don't want people doing it to us. That's kind of how that works. When there are no rules to how the military conducts itself, that's when atrocities are committed. And honestly, that more than anything is what the regime wants. They want a military willing to commit atrocities. And this is why it is absolutely vital that everyone involved be charged with murder and be put in prison for 25 to life. From the drunken buffoon Hegseth to Admiral Bradley to the guy who pushed the button. They all have to be held accountable, and the message must be sent. Saying, I was just following orders will not protect you when you know you have a duty to disobey illegal orders.
Yeah.
All right, so let us move on here.
Well, the most corrupt Supreme Court in history is taking up the question of birthright citizenship, and the right wasted no time running to social media and gushing all over right-wing news outlets to insist that it was a legitimate debate, that there was a legitimate debate about birthright citizenship. There is not. The court announced on Friday that it was taking up the case related to Trump's executive order, the one that eliminated birthright citizenship and was completely unconstitutional. In the past, the court would have just laughed at such a blatant violation as the 14th Amendment, but this is not an ordinary SCOTUS. The GOP spent decades working toward a court as conservative as the one that we have now. The Ogre and I warned loudly about this in 2016, that the court was on the line and that we should really, really, really elect Hillary Clinton. And people stupidly thought that we were exaggerating. I mean, I remember at the time there was a lot of us in the Democratic Party who said, hey, this is really going to be a problem later. And
I won't vote my fear. You can't fearmonger me into voting for Hillary. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly. Said that we were exaggerating. Well, nearly a decade later, we have the Trump-packed court seriously listening to arguments about whether children born in this country are Americans. What in the actual fuck?
And it's really important. It's really important to know that those same people are now like, well, why aren't Democrats stopping this? And it's like, you know what? Go fuck off.
Right.
Go fuck yourself.
I know.
We told you, and you said, well, fuck you. I'm not voting for a Democrat. And now you're like, well, why aren't you fixing my mistake? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of talk that the court won't actually rule in Trump's favor. And if you're one of the people who believe that, let's take a moment to look at the ashes of Roe v. Wade. I also think it's important to remind everyone that this court often likes to fall back on the perverted definition of originalism, where they claim that the laws have to be rooted in history. That's the argument that they had when they overturned Roe versus Wade and expanded gun rights, because obviously things that are rooted in history only matter if we're not talking about guns.
Of course.
So in this case, though, Congress absolutely understood that the 14th Amendment was that this is one of those times when my brain is moving faster than my mouth. If you missed my ADHD conversation earlier, I feel bad for you. So in this case, Congress absolutely understood the 14th Amendment was meant to cover children born from immigrants, even those without papers, because they literally debated the question at the time. There is contemporary writing that explicitly supports the original interpretation. Lawmakers agreed that the Citizenship Clause would cover everyone in the jurisdiction of the United States. When they debated the clause, Senator Jacob Howard explained that it was, quote, simply declaratory of the law of the land already, that every person born within the limits of the United States and subject to their jurisdiction is by virtue of nature or of natural law and national. Oh my God!
Want to start that over?
I know. It's my. I'm getting worked up over the fact that this could impact my children. And people will say, no, it won't, because you're an American, until they decide that doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, half doesn't count.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the Germans did.
Right, exactly. One drop. We remember that?
Uh-huh.
So lawmakers agreed that the Citizenship Clause would cover everyone in the jurisdiction of the United States. When they debated the clause, Senator Jacob Howard explained that it was, quote, simply declaratory of the law of the land already, that every person born within the limits of the United States and subject to their jurisdiction is by virtue of natural law and national law a citizen of the United States. Nailed it.
Woo!
No laughing? Whatever.
I would never.
Unlike a lot of the language in the Constitution, which is old-timey or written in kind of obtuse legalese, the Birthright Citizenship Clause is extremely clear, and the wording is very unambiguous. Quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. That's it.
Yep.
There's no other way to interpret that.
Yeah, it's not really complicated. It's like even here in the 21st century, it's really super plain and simple.
Yes. The unambiguous phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, by the way, was the explicit reason why the right has been desperately trying to use 1984 doublespeak to turn undocumented immigrants into an invasion.
A quote unquote
1984 or 1884?
the book 1984.
Oh, 1984, the fucking book.
Yeah, Anastasia's reading it in school right now.
That's funny because Aiden just read it too on his own.
I have to borrow her copy when she's done with it. I've never read it. I know the story. I've just never read it.
I asked Aiden, does it end well? He said no.
No, it definitely does not end well. That is not a happy ending book.
Yeah, that's what he said. So anyways, invaders are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, and their children would not be citizens. So that's why they really, 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 really want to make this an invasion.
When you hear them talking about they're invaders,
right?
And I couldn't figure out why they were doing that. Why did they keep talking about invasion? And then I found out they're trying to create this legal fiction.
Yes.
So that's the reason why. That's specifically the reason why.
Because if you are a member of like a foreign force that's invading the United States, then you have no rights in the United States. So if the 6 Republicans sign off on this completely fabricated legal theory language and the rule of law. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Son of a fucking bitch. It gets better when I warm up. And I've read all of this beforehand too. And mutating the vocabulary to fit. Yes, that is what they're doing. Also, that's what I'm doing this morning.
Speaking of mangling the English language,
it makes you wonder why he wants me to do the show with him sometimes, I swear, but it's because he loves me. So if the 6 Republicans on the court sign off on this, like, oh, fuck, now my nose itches. Woo! Guys.
This is actually why it's like, oh man, I sound so much better in comparison. Oh, thank God.
That was rude. That was really fucking rude. Anyways, if the 6 Republicans on the court sign off on this completely fabricated legal theory, you got to get your little pointer out of my notes.
You know, I did put a comma there on purpose. There's a comma right there.
Yes,
comma,
but now
pause.
your little look. Now your little thing is. Thank you.
You said size didn't matter. Anyway, so
oh my God, you guys.
This is why they come to the live show for, because this is all getting edited out.
You just need to read it. Just read it for me, please.
All right. Let's see, now I'm having trouble. If the 6 Republicans sign off on this completely fabricated legal theory, language and the rule of law mean nothing, and we are fully into lawless territory. The court is already completely illegitimate, but doing this would tell us that our absolute first priority when we control the White House and Congress in 2029, which is definitely going to happen, by the way, is to either remove the Republicans from the bench for treason or expand the court by 9 seats and put an end to their corruption permanently. All right, let us move on, because, Florida woman's just dying over here.
Oh, my God. And then I spelled here in our chat, H. Glad you were all here, like hearing, to witness this. What the fuck is happening?
Oh, my God. All right. Trump-friendly oligarchs are trying to seize control of Warner Brothers. This is a little confusing, so bear with us here. Netflix recently won the bid to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, which includes HBO Max and CNN. This infuriated Paramount, the owners of Paramount, which was recently taken over by Skydance Media. Skydance is run by David Ellison, the son of Trump mega donor Larry Ellison, both of whom are pieces of shit. When news broke that Netflix won the bid, Paramount launched an attempted hostile takeover by submitting an offer to Warner shareholders for $30 a share. That's $108 billion. That's $108 billion and all in cash. So here's where it gets interesting. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, His affinity partners is one of the investors in the deal and backing Paramount. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund is also part of the deal. And according to Axios, Paramount is telling Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders that will have an easier time getting regulatory approval than Netflix will. Trump has spoken out in favor of Paramount purchasing the the company, and the country. It's worth noting that Trump was neutral on the deal until Ellison promised to fire all the people Trump hates at CNN and make it more friendly to him. And it's kind of weird how comfortable our deeply Islamophobic country is handing a huge chunk of our media landscape over to Middle Eastern countries. Interestingly, this is all happening while Larry Ellison's Oracle stock has increased by 2%, increasing his net worth to more than $264 billion and making him the second richest man in the world. Ellison's massive empire is the foundation of Skydance Media and, by extension, Paramount. And it's also noticeable that this would be the second major corporate takeover Kushner's had his hands in this year. So again, and it's please take note, part of the pitch to Warner shareholders by Ellison is that they have Trump in their pocket, so they're guaranteed to get the merger through. The open corruption is just breathtaking. They're not even hiding it. And just as interesting, the legacy press that spent years screaming over Hunter Biden even existing can't seem to find the time to work up even a mild bit of outrage over Trump's son-in-law further enriching himself and using his connection to daddy for shady deals. Of course, it's also important to note that if the Ellisons and Kushner succeed, they will control yet another major media player. They're consolidating their stranglehold on the information highway. Larry Ellison also owns a controlling stake in TikTok. All of this is happening ahead of the midterms, but more importantly, before the 2028 presidential election. And this is more than a little reminiscent of the way the oligarchs in Russia and Hungary seized control of the country's media in order to prop up Putin and Orban. And there's no doubt that if America's oligarchs win this war, like this particular fight right here, they will immediately fire John Oliver at HBO Max, who's been raking the regime over the coals the entire time. And they'll also fire 80% of the reporters at CNN and start directly controlling the investigative content there, just like they did with CBS News. Now, remember, one of the long-term goals of Christian nationalism and Project 2025 is to control not just the press, but popular culture. Allowing these billionaire degenerates to control huge chunks of Hollywood and streaming will allow them to start pumping out anti-LGBTQ+, anti-democracy, anti-Black, anti-Muslim, anti-Latino, anti-woman, anti-everything propaganda in favor of white Christo-fascist drivel. So, when the regime falls, and it will, one of our top priorities after we expand the Supreme Court and fire all of Trump's political appointees and sweep out all the fascists in the government will be to smash the fascist control of the media.
Word.
All right. It is time for us to move on to scenes from a crashing economy.
Okay, Ross. So layoffs are up 54% from last year. You know, back when the economy was getting stronger and not collapsing. The total layoffs for 2025 at the end of November is 1.17 million. That's the highest since 2020 when COVID was crashing the global economy. So Trump is as destructive as a global pandemic. That really takes some talent.
See, he should get an award for that.
only a fake FIFA Peace Prize, apparently. Which, just really quickly, Gavin Newsom's response to that was fucking hilarious.
Oh my God, what was it again? A Coles Peace Prize?
A Coles Peace Prize, yeah.
Yes, that was amazing.
So the federal government also announced that the latest inflation numbers aren't going to be released this month. It's almost like they're trying to hide how poorly the country is doing. But obviously that's not going to work because the American people feel it every single time we go to the grocery store, and we are all blaming Trump. A new Political Public First poll shows that 46% of Americans believe the cost of living is the worst they've seen it in their lifetime. 37% of Trump voters agree. And 46% of Americans also say the economy is Trump's and that he owns the increased costs. Weird. It's almost like what Trump said, that the president is in control of that stuff. To counter this feeling of unease, Trump is going on a shut the fuck up, the economy is super affordable tour. He's traveling across the country and spreading the message that the economy is A+++++, which ironically is the same grade that my first grader gave himself when he wrote that another student, quote, pooped her pants and peed her pants and pooped and peed her pants on his daily writing assignment.
Wait,
and this is,
was he talking about Trump?
No, but this is actually a true story. He literally wrote that and then he put A+++++ on the paper. I said, who gave you an A+ or an A+++++? And he goes, oh, I did. And this was yesterday. So
gotta love the confidence. All right. So meanwhile, AI adoption is not happening. The AI bubble is in the trillions, and businesses have to spend billions using AI in order to make those trillions pay off. No return on investment, bubble go pop. There has to be widespread adoption, but that's not happening. Recent surveys show that just 11% of businesses with 250 employees or more are bothering to use AI in any significant way. And that's down from 1 point from last year. That is not sustainable. The bubble was already wobbling, and this is going to push it that much closer to popping with catastrophic results for the economy.
You know, the company that I previously worked at fired all of the writers because of AI. They decided to use AI to write the articles, and now that company went under. So
shocking, absolutely shocking. What, they thought they could just save money by having AI push out shitty writing, and then no one wanted to read their shitty writing? I can't believe that.
It's weird. So speaking of a catastrophe, Trump is spending $12 billion of our tax dollars to bail out farmers suffering from his fucking tariffs. To top it off, the asshole is blaming Joe Biden for the inflation he directly caused. That $12 billion is going to grow next year as Trump's moronic trade wars continue to destroy the markets that our farmers rely on. But I guess we'll just keep blaming Biden 2 years after he left office, and the press will just let Trump get away with it because they're fucking spineless. Oh, and by the way, when he did this during his first term, reports have shown that a small number of little family-owned farms, reports showed small family-owned farms still went under, while the largest, wealthiest farms took a disproportionate amount of tax dollars. So all of those small farms that are suffering now are going to continue to suffer. They're going to go under, but big agriculture is going to take up all of these tax dollars.
So basically, it's another bailout for the rich.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Shocking. Finally, the tariff pain is coming. You thought you were already feeling the tariff pain? No. Retailers have been cushioning that blow all year, partly by eating some of the costs, but mostly by stocking up on inventory before the tariffs hit. And I remember reading about that. They bought huge amounts of inventory before the tariffs hit. But that's coming to an end because they've chewed up all their inventory. By the end of December or early January, prices are going to start going up at major retailers, and all the screaming and bellowing from the pedophile in the White House will not change that.
Alleged pedophile. Gotta protect yourselves legally, man.
Yeah, hey, you know what? All he has to do is release the Epstein files to prove that he's not a pedophile. Anyway, corporations are not going to erase their profits to please the Mad King. They will pass those costs on to the consumer right when unemployment is spiking, and the Trump session will kick into high gear. all in an election year. Art of the fucking deal. Pure genius. Now, we've said this before, and we will keep saying it. If you have not got your finances in order or prepared for a massive economic shock, the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time to start is right fucking now. It is coming, and you cannot say you were not warned.
It's unfortunate that so many of us can't prepare ourselves because the economy is so fucking bad we have no extra money left.
I know, but it's just, I mean, just anything you can do to prepare for it because it is absolutely fucking coming. All right. It's time to move on to headlines for short attention spans. Trump has a bruise and bandage on his hand again. He tried covering up with makeup, but, you know, he doesn't know how to do makeup for some reason, and no one around him does either. So it's super obvious and noticeable. He's getting a regular IV of some kind. And at his age, that's a bad sign for his health. And the fact that the legacy press is not setting Washington, D.C. on fire, demanding answers, tells us that our hopes of the New York Times lifting the taboo on Trump's health were in vain. Those fucking cowards are still looking the other way after spending 4 years screaming about Joe Biden's age and his health. Because Republicans are not held to a lower standard, they're held to no standard at all.
So we're not going to do an ICE segment this week, but this is an update of the story, or of a story that we covered last week. We told you about Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's nephew's mom being taken into custody. Well, her attorney has now revealed that a federal judge ruled that she could be released on a $1,500 bond. Bruna Caroline Ferreira, I'm definitely sure that's not correct, is Leavitt's brother's ex. She was in the process of getting her green card and had previously held status under DACA when the feds arrested her. They're still trying to deport her, but at least she's home with her child for now, presumably. She gave an interview to the Washington Post, and she said, or she gave it to them while she was in detention, and she said that she made a mistake when she trusted Leavitt and expressed regret that she named the press secretary her son's godmother over her own sister. And I would say she's probably right.
I mean, just the idea of trusting her in the first place with anything. I wouldn't trust her.
Well,
I wouldn't trust her to hold a piece of shit without throwing it at somebody because she's garbage.
It's true, but we can give her a pass because their son is 11 years old. Caroline Leavitt is what, like 27? So that means that Caroline Leavitt was a teenager when they named her godmother. So she probably wasn't as big a piece of shit as she is now. So, yeah.
I feel like she was.
Probably. But she was still a kid. So.
The regime released its national security strategy this week or last week. No, this week. Last week? God damn it.
They released a strategy.
Yes. The regime released its national security strategy, and it is a white nationalist's wet dream. In it, the regime explains how we are now aligned with Russia's view on the world, where white culture is under threat by those people. More specifically, the United States is now in the business of, quote, cultivating resistance in Europe. Resistance to what, you might ask? Diversity, democracy, free speech, immigration, feminism, the LGBTQ plus community, etc., etc. We have effectively declared our intent to be the new Russia, funding and fomenting hate and white nationalism across Europe in an effort to destabilize Western democracies. Stephen Miller, who is 100% the author of this abomination, wants to be the new Putin. And when this is over, that motherfucker needs to be shot as a traitor.
After a trial.
I mean, I guess. Personally, I think we should grab him before he commits suicide with a cyanide pill. But, you know.
That stallion or whatever the fuck his wife called him.
A sexual stallion.
Anywho, Ron fucking DeSantis declared the Muslim Brotherhood and Council on American Islamic Relations foreign terrorist groups. CARE, if you don't know who they are, is one of the largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organizations in the United States. This move follows a similar action by Texas last month. And it's hard to understand how the fuck DeSantis and Abbott can declare the group's a terrorist organization. Yeah. The group's terrorist organizations when the US government has not done the same. But we live in the stupidest timeline, so it's not that surprising, I guess. CARE has, of course, vowed to sue DeSantis and is saying that the move was unconstitutional. We would have to agree.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's important to understand, like, the right is so excited to start declaring everything on the left a terrorist organization when they're out of power and the Democrats control everything. When we start taking a hard look at the right and all of its ties to foreign countries, and hey, you know what? You work for a foreign country and you're trying to destabilize the country. Yeah, I think you're a terrorist organization. They're going to scream bloody murder about how that's an abuse of power and you can't do that. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. It's like, I'm sorry, didn't you just spend 4 years doing exactly the same thing? Oh, that's right. It's only okay when you do it with no cause whatsoever. But when you guys are directly working with Russia, because we're going to find a whole lot of direct connections, because they don't think they have to hide it anymore. They're not going to be covering up their tracks at all because they think this is it, right? This is the big fascist takeover. Why bother hiding it now? And when we come after them and we uncover everything that they're doing and say, yeah, we have all of these emails, all of these links, all of this money being transactioned here. And it's like, yeah, these guys were working directly for fucking Russia. They're going to be like, well, you can't call us a terrorist organization, a foreign terrorist organization, just because we're working with Russia. Russia's our ally. It's like, yeah, that's not how that works, buddy. And you're going to go to jail. All right. We didn't get to this before the Thanksgiving break, but former reality TV star Sean Duffy, the guy play acting as transportation secretary, announced his new initiative to improve American air travel.
Ugh.
Having people dress in suits and just be more civil, because the real problem isn't long lines, crowded tiny seats, high prices, and delays. It's people wearing pajamas and slippers. Also, he wants to give airports $1 billion, not to improve their air infrastructure or hire more air traffic controllers, but to build gyms where people can work out while waiting for a flight. Then
that's what I want, is a sweaty ass person sitting next to me on a flight.
Yeah, and when people point that out, he's like, oh, no, they wouldn't be working out enough to build up a sweat just to get the blood pumping. It's like, that makes people sweat, you fucking moron. Anyway, then a day or two ago, Duffy and the steroid-pumped RFK Jr. did pull-ups at Reagan International to show off something. I don't fucking know. These are not serious people.
Were their pull-ups better than Pete Hegseth's pull-ups, at least?
Duffy did 10, and RFK Jr. did 20, I believe.
And what, for me, it wasn't the fact that he couldn't do a pull-up. It was that his legs were flying all over the place in the video. So funny.
These people are just not serious at all.
Well, speaking of Duffy, did you also see that they stopped fining airliners for delaying flights and stuff? So
I'm sure they're going to go really out of their way to, not to get everything running on time now.
Yeah, certainly. So let's finish up with some good news. Some really, really good news. On Tuesday, there were 2 more special elections. Now, it's important to understand that these were just local elections, so they shouldn't be a big deal on the national stage. One was in Miami, and the other was in Georgia. It really shouldn't be that huge of a story, except Democrats flipped House District 121, a gerrymandered seat that Texas won last year by 12 points.
That Trump won. You said Texas.
Oh, shit. A gerrymandered seat that Trump won last year by 12 points. A wave election of 12 to 13 points would be catastrophic for the GOP. Their midterms are going to be so much worse than that. And how do we know? Well, Miami just elected its first Democratic mayor in over 30 years. And it's its first female mayor to boot. Miami, if you're not aware, is overwhelmingly Latino, and it's also dominated by Cubans. They are the one Latino population that has been staunchly pro-Republican for over 50 years, and yet the Trump-backed candidate lost. That's a big fucking deal. And not by a little bit either. It was 59 to 41. That's an absolute curb stomping.
Oh, yeah.
Just a year ago, Miami voted for Trump over Harris 55 to 43. If I were a Republican, I would be eyeing the exits because that blue wave is on the horizon and it's starting to blot out the fucking sun. And there's still 11 months to go. The Miami thing is crazy.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. I know it's the mayor of a city. I mean, Miami's not a small city, but it's not like a massive major city either. So, it shouldn't be a big deal. But this is in Florida, and Miami is red.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, it was a massacre.
Yeah, and it's really important to remember that before the 2024 election, there was a lot of Cubans and a lot of Venezuelans who live in Miami doing all of these stupid social media posts where they're like, I will vote for Donald Trump, and making stupid little songs. And then when Trump started taking away TPS for Cubans and Venezuelans, they were like, they're deporting our families. And it was okay if they deported our families.
Right.
But not when they deport their families.
Well, the leopards came and ate their faces. Boo-hoo.
Please go suck a dick. So anyways, on to self-care for the week.
And we're muted. We seem to have lost Florida woman.
Oh, my bad. So on to self-care for the week. I did it with the keyboard. Anyway.
Okay, start over.
Anyways, on to self-care for the week. But I will admit that as a Floridian, the Miami thing was very soothing. And as a Floridian with a Latino husband who is not Cuban, gave me great joy. So anyways, I didn't do anything super interesting over the last week, which is why I'm telling you about my story first. He booted me from the second place. My cousin went back home, and that sucked because I really am going to miss her. But my liver is so happy.
Say your liver probably doesn't miss her.
My liver does not miss her at all. Although I will tell you that I knew that I was cooked when I thought about taking a shot on Friday after she was gone. I was like, what am I doing? Yikes, that's how they get you.
Yeah, really. You can't drink like that. You're in your 40s.
I've never been able to drink like that. I'm a whole hot mess. Singing fucking WAP in the driveway in front of the Christians. I also started watching Fire Country on Paramount Plus, though after this week I might have to stop watching Paramount completely. Although I do feel like I get a pass.
He took away my Star Trek.
Right. Well, I feel like I get a little bit of a pass because I don't pay for my Paramount. So I'm already kind of screwing them. But anyways, all I have to say about Fire Country is holy shit, Bodhi is fine. Oh my God. It's hot over here. Not because of the fires.
Mrs. Ogre agrees with that sentiment. Not that she would ever say that because, tisk.
Oh, me neither. I would totally never, ever say. I didn't say that at all. You guys are hearing nothing because I'm like a super married woman who never looks at anybody ever. Except for Meg the Stallion. And I do love me some Meg the Stallion. But anyways, finally, I watched the Buffalo Bills get their asses kicked across 4 quarters by the Cincinnati Bengals. But then they came back and scored 21 points in the last 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the game, snatching the win away from Joe Burrow. and his team. And let me just say that they were calling him Snowborough on the internet. Please. You guys can never beat Josh Allen. I can't describe how crazy the win was. I literally put my head on I started getting depressed. I put my head on the sofa and I closed my eyes and I was like, this isn't happening to us. And then as I'm laying there with my eyes closed, I hear, oh my God, Christian Benford. Oh my God. And then I looked up and there he was intercepting. That's exactly what it was. And I screamed, touchdown! And then I started banging on the sofa. And my 6-year-old looked at me and went, huh? So anyways, it was crazy. So it was a good win. So this week we face the Patriots again. I am a little nervous about the game, but we're all going to look to the north and say, go Bills.
Go Raiders.
Fuck off.
Go Raiders. Woo!
Go Bills. And let's all hope that we beat Stephon Diggs and Cardi B. Sorry. I just want to point out that Stephon used to be our wide receiver, but now he is at the Patriots, so he's a traitor. But we do love Cardi. So, Cardi, please come to the Bills. I'm sure we have.
Someone that she could date.
Come on.
She could date someone on your team.
Somebody. All I can think about is that if Stephon Diggs had still been with our team, Cardi B's new baby would have Bills clothes on. Anyways, moving on.
All right. After weeks of driving Anastasia back and forth to rehearsal, oh God, there was so much driving. We all went to opening night on Friday for Jingle Bell Jam Remix. It was a 75-minute long show of songs and little Christmas skits, and it was all very cute. Anastasia was in 4 different songs. She was in 3 different skits, including one where she got to play Ebenezer Scrooge, but as a puppet. So I guess it runs in the family. We're just puppets all over the place. She also got to do an entire K-pop dance routine from one of our favorite K-pop groups twice, which made her very, very happy. And then I was back on Saturday to volunteer at the concession booth, and I watched the show again. Then Claudia was supposed to go with Lila to see the show on Sunday, but she was sick. So I took Lila instead because Anastasia really, really, really wanted to make sure Lila was there. So I watched it a 3rd time. Boy, what we do for our children.
That's a dedicated father right there.
Yeah, to do it the 3rd time was like, oh boy. Still, right? It was it's a really cute show, and thank God it was only an hour with a 50-minute intermission. So it was fun to watch even 3 times in a row. And even grumpy teen Lila smiled, so it was a win. So yay. And this coming weekend, Mrs. Ogre is going to go see it with Grammy and Poppy, who are coming up from Florida. I won't be there because those are the Trump grandparents, and I don't talk to them. I won't be in the same room with them because no. But, they're going to go see it a couple of times. And then
he used to actually go to New York when they came to visit.
Yes, I used to literally leave the state when they came. They'd be like, all right, well, they're in Virginia. Time for me to not be in the same state as them. Bye. I went to go visit my baby mama's and donor son. But now they live in Florida, and that is way too far for you to drive for a weekend. New York? Sure. Florida? No.
Are you sure? Because I have a lot of Crown Royal here.
If it wasn't a 17-hour drive to get to you, yeah, but no. But yeah, no. So, I'll just keep myself occupied for 2.5 days doing something else. Probably just working on Dungeons and Dragons next door over at Claudia and Lila's, while Claudia goes to see the show that she missed the first time.
His donor son, he donated sperm to his best friends. They're lesbians, and they had a baby. His name's Kyle.
And now he lives in Florida, which is, not ideal, but
he wants all of us to move from Florida.
I want everyone to move from Florida except for the Republicans, and then it can turn into the disease-infested swamp of their dreams. So, Anyway.
Well, that's cute that you watched that show 3 times. I literally, before I had Nathan, I remember the last show that I was that I had to sit through in Aiden's elementary school, and I thought to myself, thank God I'm never gonna have to do this again. Yep. So anyway, that's it for today's show.
Yep, the Opinionated Ogre podcast, like the newsletter, is free and 100% supported by you, our amazing audience. We have no advertisers or sponsors, so please consider becoming a paid subscriber for only $5 a month or just $50 a year. If you prefer a one-time donation, we now have a PayPal button. If you prefer a one-time donation, we now have a PayPal button for your convenience. You can help the podcast grow by giving us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Patreon, or wherever you're listening, and spread the word by sharing the OgPod far and wide on whatever social media platform you're using. You can find me at the Opinionated Ogre on Substack, Blue Sky, and also on TikTok. Florida Woman, where can our beloved audience find you?
You guys can find me at Florida Woman Rants on Substack. And hey, I just want to say that if you listen to our live show every week, we really appreciate that. But also don't forget, yeah, we love that you're here, all 129 of you right now. But remember to listen to our recording, or don't listen to it. You don't have to listen to it. Just play it on mute.
And then share it.
And then share it, please.
All right. The next blue wave is coming. November 3rd, 2026. That is our D-Day, when we storm the beaches and take back our power. They can't stop it. Remember, you are not alone. There are millions of us, and so stay strong. We beat the fascists once, and we will fucking do it again. Adios.
Adios. No, seriously though, if you're watching our live thing, make sure that you interact with our recording that goes out.
Definitely. It helps our stats and, helps it, get out there and spread more, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and hopefully we at some point we're gonna have to figure out how to monetize it, because we really do this for you guys. You guys do donate to PayPal, and we very much appreciate that.
Yeah, we spent 2 days writing the notes, and then we record it, and then we edit it, and then I run it tomorrow. So
and then he goes in the red every month by giving me his own money.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, all right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm still recovering from the alcohol, so I'm just kind of all over the place. My liver doesn't know what it's doing. And I ate a handful of Reese Pieces this morning while drinking 4 cups of coffee.
Good Lord. So healthy sounding. So healthy. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. And
Bye,
we still have to
guys.
figure out what we're doing for Christmas and New Year's. Actually, New Year's we can record on like Tuesday.
Yeah, so I'm okay with recording on New Year's, but I think that we should just take Christmas week off.
You think so?
I think so. All of the other podcasts are going to be doing it. We did a show for Thanksgiving. You guys let us know what you think. Can you give us a week off? Because we kind of need it.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I could do like a clip episode, but my God, that would take hours.
No, it's just
to
going to be
go
too
through
much.
all those episodes and try to figure out which good clips to do. Which one should I clip? It's like, oh my God, that would take forever.
Oh, no. And plus, we're funny all the time. So it's really hard to choose the best one. So I think that we're just going to take the week off.
That sounds good.
So we'll see you next week, but not the week after.
Bye.
Bye, guys.